Hello everybody, welcome to the Marvelous Scope. I am Marvin LeBlanc. Can you hear me out there, beautiful people? Welcome to the Marvelous Scope, Marvin LeBlanc. Tonight our topic is the 2 most important habits to create your wealth. Hello today's Tupperware, welcome to the house. Kansas City Biz Boss is here as well. I see a whole lot of people that have just recently heard that I'm doing this unexpected scope tonight. As always, this will be on catch.me/Marvin LeBlanc on the replay. So any of you that are coming in late, I apologize for you coming in late, but you can always catch me at the catch.me/Marvin LeBlanc. I'm going to get right down into the content. My voice is a little sore tonight because last night I was out watching those LSU Tigers defeat a very talented, scrappy Florida Gators team, and so it was excellent. John, thanks for coming. As always, if you go to the bottom right on any iOS device and click the Periscope man, I certainly would appreciate this if you would share this important information with your followers. Tonight's going to be content driven. Marlene is in the house. Marlene, I will make this sweet and special for you so that you can get a good night's sleep as well. So let me go ahead and get right into the content. And if you guys feel like I've earned a flood of hearts, just rock on that. If I do miss your comment, I apologize for it because I want to make sure that you get this content. So, as always, White Mocha, thank you for coming. Fabulous Writer, thank you for coming. As always, I respond to my followers. So I lead a tribe of people who have been kind enough, and I've been honored to serve for many, many years. I've been a blogger for probably 5 or 6 years. You can get that free blog at MarvinLeBlanc.com/blog. There's over 200 articles there that you can tap into if you need personal motivation, if you need organizational help, if you need leadership topics, if you need teamwork topics, if you're dealing in a corporation or a business and you're having challenges with that organization moving forward. Certainly, I'm a resource for you. I offer an unbelievable amount of free content, and at the same time, if you check my Periscope bio and you feel so compelled at paypal.me/Marvin LeBlanc, later on, somebody please remind me, and I will share with you a special offer at the end. If you don't remind me, I may not forget because I'm going to get a little worked up and excited. So any questions out there before I begin? I'm so honored for you guys to have joined me on a Sunday night, especially because you might have been with family or friends or neighbors or traveling. Natalia's in the house. Very good. So let me begin. The topic tonight is the 2 most important habits to create your wealth. I'm going to be sharing the offer. I can't share it just now because I want everybody to click in and pop in as many as 500 to 1,000 hearts and to share with your followers because we need to build this platform. And certainly, White Mocha, if you want to talk to me offline, you can certainly send me an email to MarvinLeBlancSpeaker@gmail.com, and I'm personable and accessible. If I don't respond within 24 hours, you should assume that I either died or that I never got your email. I'm not kidding. My job is to serve others as I have been served throughout my life. So what is this about? This is about the fact that I received some troubling emails over the week, and most of the times it has to do with those individuals seeking to find a way to live without the stress of bills and to earn an income regularly so that they won't live their lives in desperation, quite frankly, financial desperation. And so, as some of you know, I'm a licensed insurance professional in the state of Louisiana. That's not what any of this is about, but I'm just saying that I've been involved in this for only about 28 to 29 years, so I'm pretty familiar with the topic, if you know what I'm saying. And what we have that's a challenge is this, and I'm going to draw this, and tell me if you can't see it, because you see, I'm also trying to expand my own comfort zone by writing on the board instead of sitting the whole time. Just for any of you out there that want to do presentations, please keep in mind that you will generate a lot more energy and effectiveness with those that you're communicating with if you stand up. And not just sit down or slouch. So here's the deal. Up here you see, well actually you don't, so let me pull this over a little bit. It says here, why people fail financially. And this is according to the Social Security Administration of April 2000. So you can find this and Google it if you want to verify. And that is, they followed 100 people. And they followed these 100 people from age 20 to age 65. And the study was to find out how is it that they were successful or not successful. So what happens when you follow 100 people from 20 to 65? Well, statistically, here's what they found. 16 of them didn't make it to 65. They died. That speaks to unexpected, untimely death, whether it be illnesses, car accidents, any number of things. But 16 of them didn't make that. That also speaks to the need for life insurance in the event of an untimely death of a major breadwinner. Well, lo and behold, a spouse and remaining children could possibly have to leave their house if the breadwinner wasn't responsible enough, because obviously they didn't plan that they were ever going to die before 65. But not only do people do, but just recently I attended a 20-year-old's funeral. And so it happens, and it happens quite frequently right now. All of you probably already know that if you are watching at all any of the news, which I do not suggest you to spend a whole lot of time watching unless you are guaranteed desiring to become extremely depressed. I would strongly encourage you to follow people on Periscope that are nurturers, that are strong encouragers, that are heading in a direction that you might want to go. Ben, thanks for joining, Ben. So here's the deal. Here's what happened. As I already told you, 16 of those people died before they even got to 65. But sadly, the huge majority of those people from 20 to 65, when they reached 65, they were in what we would call poverty. So they would be called the working poor. They may not actually be hardly making a living. They're just making ends meet. So 66 out of the 100 actually were living in poverty. 14 out of the 100, whenever they got to 65, they actually had adequate incomes. Okay? Adequate. Now, I'm not saying that they necessarily could go ahead and retire and have a free lifestyle. Thanks for joining, Randy. But they did have some adequate income. Sadly, out of 100 people, hey Beth, good to see you here. Sadly, out of 100 people, only 4 out of 100 people in America, when they went and studied these people from 20 to age 65, only 4 out of 100 Americans, which is supposed to be the most financially most wealthy country in the world, okay, only 4 were independently wealthy. And so that's a huge concern. Incidentally, they've done this study for several decades, and pretty much regardless of any economic situation we've been in, the numbers are still bearing out that, quite frankly, a lot of people are just not making it. So, how about you? Let's look at some things that you might want to write down, some possible notes that will help you analyze your own personal situation when you're not on this Periscope after we adjourn. There's only two kind of people in America when it comes to the world of finance. Here's the two kind of people. So the first person that we're looking at, let's go ahead and slide this over. Okay, are those that spend first and then save what's left over. That's one kind of person in the world of finances here in America. The second type of person are those that save first and then spend. So we have people who spend and then save what's left over. What do they have left over? Anybody? Hello, Etoile. Anybody? If they spend first, if a person spends and then they save whatever's left over, what do they have left over usually? Not a heck of a lot. The second type of person saves first and then spends what's left over. What we have a whole lot is people that have a list of bills, the light bill, the electric bill, the house note, the car note. All of these bills line up, and they line up every single month, either in your pre-authorized bank drafts or in your mailbox. And so the people who spend first and save after, they have all of these bills, and they're going through and trying to pay these bills. Oop, here's what happens. Some of them right here, when they get to some of their bills, they don't even have enough money left to pay for those bills, much less if they're ever going to save anything. So these people, if you look really close, you see that right there? Ooh, that's a sad face. Yeah. These are bitter, unhappy people. These are the kind of people that whenever they leave the room lights up with enthusiasm because they're just miserable. Okay? They're miserable. Now, okay, this is the second kind of people over here. These people save first. Thanks for the hearts, guys. Just go nuts. Pow, pow, pow. Just hit that and just send all kind of love. I appreciate the love. I strongly appreciate the love. And remember, bottom right side, hit that little Periscope, man, and share this with other people, because there's a lot of people that are your friends, neighbors, coworkers, or relatives that are in a world of financial hurt, and nobody's reaching out to show them a little love without a sales pitch tied to it, okay? So this is free information to help you move from where you are to where you want to be. Can y'all say yes to that? Can y'all see that? Can y'all feel that? Maureen says yes. Okay, so these people over here, they save and then they spend what's left. And so those people, they also have bills lining up right there at their mailbox too. But here's the difference. This person over here is wanting to save after they spend, and there's never anything left. There's too much month at the end of the money. There's too many monthly bills at the end of the money, so they never save. Okay? They're actually living, this is according to some statistics, they're actually living off of about 112 to 115% of what they make. That means that whenever they take in $100, they're spending $112 to $115. Well, really, how can they do that? It's called debt. It's called credit cards. So many people, they might have a $5,000 credit card limit, and when their bill comes in, the minimum monthly payment might be $62. Well, if all they're ever doing is paying the minimum monthly payment of $62, lots of times the average consumer doesn't even know that 18% credit card is actually a loan. Most people do not really understand that a credit card is a loan. Okay, you cannot continue to pay a minimum monthly amount and ever be financially wealthy. It is mathematically impossible, folks. It's mathematically impossible. Are y'all with me? Hang in there, Nixter. Hang in there with me, baby. This is going to be important. All right, so you got the spenders, and they save what's left, which is nothing. We'll talk about that, Randy. We'll talk about how can you save when it takes every dollar you make to survive. There's a lot of people out there that feel the same way. They will never pay it off, Marlene. Marlene says they'll never pay it off with minimum monthlies. It's designed that way. Matter of fact, life is so risky. Based on recent facts, you're not getting out alive. Okay, that's not recent facts. That's been going on since the history of man, right? We're not getting out alive. But while we're here, my point is, if we can do a few good things right here, you'll be able to live a much better life. Because if you don't follow these practices and you ignore what I'm fixing to cover here, okay, you will have what's called a just-in-case retirement. You know what a just-in-case retirement is? It's when you're fed up at work, and so you took a retirement because you're eligible, and you might have a few $100,000, but you're so afraid out there that you're not even doing anything in retirement because you're so afraid to run out of money and live to 90 years old that you just sit at home in fear, almost in your own shackled imprisonment, mental imprisonment, because of why? Well, I got to keep the money just in case. That's not life. That's not what this is about. There's nobody watching this broadcast that wants to have a just-in-case existence. They can't even go out at a restaurant sometimes because they're so worried and preoccupied. Okay, somebody's talking about sacrifice and pay off that debt and force yourself to save a fixed percentage of money or bi-weekly. White Mocha, you are in the house and you are correct. So you have the spenders, you have the savers. Okay, this is profound. Catch this, guys. You see these people right here? These spenders? They work and their life is dependent on these people. The spenders have to live on the savers. If you have kids and you haven't raised your kids to be financially responsible, then they're spenders. And if you think you're going to retire and those kids aren't going to continue to suck money out of you, I don't have any good advice. You're going to be a just-in-case retiree, scared to death. Okay? I'm keeping it 100, White Mocha. That's what I'm about. We're going to keep it real tonight, baby. So, the other reason, if you're a spender and you work for a corporation, okay, you're completely dependent on that corporation, and you're praying and hoping to God every 2 weeks they find a reason to keep you so that you can keep getting a check. Well, don't forget to ask. I know grown adults borrowing lots of money from elderly parents. That's correct. Okay, so what Beth is talking about there is the grown adults are actually the spenders that are having to borrow money from the responsible adults who are savers. The sad thing is those responsible adults that could be in their 60s or 70s, okay, probably will never recoup their money from their own grown adult children who can't rub two quarters together. Okay, so why does this happen? Number one, right here, you see this list? Well, if you got less money than the bills that you're creating, then eventually you're going to have to do what? What did I just do right there? I erased some bills. Now, well, Marvin, how do you erase some bills? Okay, this hurts. This hurts. You have to spend less. You see, there's only two things you can do. You can increase your income, or you can reduce your expenses. Now, I didn't learn this at college. I didn't learn this at high school. I learned this as a young kid watching the example of a father. My father was a responsible saver. Okay? If we didn't have it, we didn't buy it. Okay? He hated layaway. Some of you, y'all are too young to actually remember what layaway was. Okay? But layaway was just a fancy word, was I'm going to make a commitment for a purchase that, quite frankly, right now, the reason I had to lay the item away is because the item was $100 and all I have was $10 to my name. Okay, so the answer is not layaway. The answer is not credit cards. The answer is less consumer spending. The answer is, as my father would say, you might have had a father, hopefully you had a father like this that would say, boy. See, whenever he would start it with boy like that, I knew something profound was fixing to come, and that was, boy, you have to learn the difference between a need and a want. Does that make sense? You have to learn the difference between a need and a want. And later on, when I got in my later years, hey Tawana, thanks for joining in at our scope, I made a decision, and I had a quote where it says, you can't live a champagne lifestyle on Kool-Aid money. Okay, you have to know where you're at. And so consumer spending is the number one reason why a spender has to change their lifestyle habits. Otherwise, they'll always be a slave. They'll always have to compromise, even to their core values, because they're always having to depend on somebody else to pay the way because they weren't responsible enough to decide between a need and a want. And so that is the first principle that I want to share tonight. So do you want to stay as a spender? Or do you want to become a saver? This is not about what any stock market or investment. What we're talking about is the habit of saving. Marlene says, spend less and do not buy what you don't really need. Be responsible. Okay, here's a really interesting thought. Do y'all know the things that I value the most? You can't buy them with money. I value people's relationships. If I spend money on something, I'm actually spending money. I am more inclined to spend money. We're going to talk about that in a second, Beth. Thanks for that. I am more inclined to spend money on having a memorable experience than having more things. I have a very reliable, awesome car, okay? But my friends could give a darn on what kind of car I drive because it doesn't matter. And the truth is, I don't care what kind of car they drive. And so if you're always surrounded by materialistic things and watching Housewives of the Rich and the Famous in Atlanta and New York, whatever, oh, come on. Can we get real, people? Let's get real. Let's get back down to each other. Can we get back to relationships, healthy relationships? Can we get back to setting memories instead of buying all kind of stuff? You have to look at your credit card to even know what you bought last month. That's not where we're heading. So rule number one, reduce what you're having to pay for on your list and reduce what you're spending. Okay, Beth said it earlier. Let's talk about consumer spending. Number one on consumer spending, I already covered, and that's needs versus wants. We have to go back to that, needs versus wants. Okay, another form, Dallas Lifestyle is blowing through this elderly lady's savings to support daughter. Yes. Okay, so emotional spending has to do with what I call relationship stress. And that is that, I had an argument with my boss or my significant other, and so I'm going to go buy something, and then I'll feel better. Okay? The reality is when you get the bill, you're not going to feel better. Okay? You're not going to feel better. Okay? Etwali, remember to take me back to your statement about your passion is traveling. Uh, this other thing about emotional spending is the eating out that goes on. Lots of times we're eating out um, to justify, well, I had a bad day. I don't want to go home and cook, so I'm going to go eat out. Well, there are times where eating out is probably more efficient than being at home. But quite frankly, if you're eating out all the time, which is perfectly fine, if you have the means. In my case, I have the means, but for many, many years, I wasn't eating out. The next thing is leftovers, eating leftovers. There are people out there, oh, I would never eat leftovers. Well, let me tell you, peeps, okay, I'm over 200 pounds, and I am intentional about everything that I've eaten. But if I didn't eat leftovers growing up as a kid, I'd still be a kid. Okay, so embrace the amount of money that you're spending and you're bitching and raising hell because of the bills. If you go look at the entertainment costs of food and whatnot because of your resistance to eating out, you need to relook at it. Matter of fact, some of my best meals are just simple meals, man. It doesn't have to always be fancy. Don't get me wrong. I love five-star dining. But when I go on a speaking event, usually I might leave on a Thursday night, and I speak in conferences all across America, and I put on what's called Marvelous Performance Schools to rebuild people's relationships and help salespeople become more professional and increase their numbers. Whenever I am out there, I like to try different things. But come Sunday night, I want to be in my bed, and Monday, I want to eat red beans and rice with sausage, and I want gumbo probably come Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay, I'm a South Louisiana boy. I like the nice things, but I want to get back to some simple food. And I don't mind eating red beans and rice on a second day. Quite frankly, if you want a little secret, shh, don't tell anybody. Gumbo is better the second and third day. Whenever all those ingredients get a chance to make love in the refrigerator while they were overnight in the refrigerator the second, third day, that gumbo's better then. Man, what an opportunity you miss if you're not going to eat leftovers. Try it. You might save a couple $100 a month. Who knows? Okay? Then Beth was talking about what I call image spending. This is really hilarious, guys. Image spending. That's what I call keeping up with the Joneses. Okay, y'all heard about keeping up with the Joneses? Oh, got to keep up with the Joneses? Good for you, White Mocha. Keep me in touch. I want to see you make that million by 64, baby. Keeping up with the Joneses, man, if I got to keep up with the Joneses, first somebody needs to tell me who the hell they are. I'm not inviting those to my house. Those Joneses don't know who I am, and they don't want to come over. So we're all about an image that we don't really need to try to keep up with those Joneses. Okay? Take a breath. Let that Jones thing go, baby. They don't pay your bills. Thirdly, actually, this is the fourth thing, impulse spending. Impulse spending, that's what I call the shiny object syndrome. Okay? This is also kind of tied into keeping up with the Joneses. I know a particular person, man, this individual lives on the internet all the time buying crap she doesn't need. And man, there's probably about 15 women out there right now that are following me that think I'm talking about them. Hello, that's a wake-up call. If you feel like it might be you, then it is you. It could be more than one. So, man, release yourself from that shiny object syndrome. Okay, here's another little side tip. Then it costs more to send it back. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's talk about your tax refund check that you get every April. There's people that's going to see this broadcast over the months, maybe into the years, that if I ask them, hey, what do you do with your tax refund check? You know what they don't tell me? What they don't tell me is, I put that whole entire tax refund check towards my credit card bill that had too high of a balance. That's not what they're telling me. Okay? What have you heard people do with their tax refund check? Anybody? What have you heard that people use their tax refund check for? Some of them do pay their bills, I hope, okay? But paying off the credit card completely? No, they don't do that. Saving it for a trip? That's fine, especially if the trip can enhance your life and help you stay recharged. Now, boy, old white mocha, she's coming through with the truth. Let their family beg it away. I know a particular individual that her husband passed away, and she had a really good nest egg that he left her, and over about the last 15 years, her kids and grandkids have dwindled it down to less than $20,000. Well, where are they whenever she's going to be needed to be taken care of? We will see, and I will keep you posted on that. Okay, so we talked about the 16 people that died before 100. We talked about the 66 that were in poverty after 40 years of working. We talked about the 14 people that were making ends meet. And we were also talking about only 4 out of 100 that were independently wealthy. So how can you make a difference? Number one, you make a difference by stopping being a spender and move towards being a saver. Number two, for every dollar that you make, for every $10 that you make, you put $1 away in savings. So you save $1 for every $10 you make. Oh, well, I can't do that. Really? If you cannot save $1 for every $10 you make right now, it's only going to become more difficult. It's not going to become less difficult. Well, no, when I make more money, I'll save. Nope. I'm sorry, my 28 years experience doesn't suggest that. What it suggests is that people continue to overspend. I've seen many people get raises and their disposable income increases, but their debt also increases in the same proportion or even more. That's just how it happens. Well, I'm not going to need as much money when I retire. Nope, somebody lied to you. It's not true. Really, why is that? Well, when you're working, the day out of every week that you spend the most money is Saturday. When you're not working and you're retired, the day of the week that you spend the most money is every day. You actually spend more money when you're retired, to be honest with you, not less. So what I want you to continue to focus on is, how can I save $1 on every $10? How can I move away from being a spender to being a saver? How can I be more marvelous to the people that I serve? If you have any questions or anything that I left you confused about, please, at all times, you can drop me an email at MarvinLeBlancSpeaker@gmail.com. For any individual on this broadcast, what I'm going to allow is for any individual that would want the actual book, Come Hell or High Water, Life Lessons from Hurricane Katrina, Facing Life's Greatest Challenges No Matter What. This is the Amazon bestseller that I have. If you're not interested, or you already have the book, as many people do, and you're involved in the profession of sales, which can be the most honorable profession in the world, this is a CD program that will help you immensely. For any $15 contribution that you make because of the content that I shared tonight, that you post into the paypal.me/MarvinLeBlanc account that you see on my bio, my Periscope bio. You just drop me an email at MarvinLeBlancSpeaker@gmail.com. I will get this in the mail to you with a special extra gift. It's almost like the Cracker Jack box, for those of you old enough to remember the great presents in a Cracker Jack box. And if you want the same $15 for the book instead, just tell me, book or sales CDs. For a $25 donation, I'm going to give you both of them for $25, and on any scenario, I'm paying the shipping. So that's my offer to you for listening. I hope that you understand the content. I hope that you do not become one of the 96 out of 100 people that are living inadequately. I want you to be one of the 4 out of 100 people that live happy and wealthy. My name is Marvin LeBlanc. I appreciate all of those hearts on that right side. Please share this. Even if you share it this late, they can still pick it up on my my replay broadcast at catch.me/Marvin LeBlanc. I wish you peace. I wish you love. And I wish you gumbo. Good night, everybody.